Right. Good morning, everybody. It's Friday and it's Firearms Friday. See, I got the banana clips on my little pistols here. Yeah, buddy. So, it's Firearms Friday. It's been riots all week. We managed to talk about a little something different yesterday, but today we're basically going to we're going to talk about riots some more because there's some serious stuff going on here. And guys, I need you to be safe out there. Right. So Mario,
Hello.
what's the first most important and best advice you can give on riot safety?
Don't go there.
Exactly. Exactly correct. Exactly what I was hoping you would say. See, I know my boy. I know I can count on Mario to say the right thing. So conveniently,
unless you've got a full on Captain America costume in your own M190, M193, minigun, okay, and you plan on showing up there like T2, no fate, then no, don't go.
Yeah, and I'll say this to the reporters on the ground, even if you're on the left, I actually appreciate what you're doing, because the beauty of what's happening right now with all the riots everywhere is, I don't care if you're Hassan Piker, who is down there trying to film police brutality and show the injustice in the system. He cannot point his camera in any direction without seeing hostile foreign invaders setting cars on fire and throwing soda bottles at cops and basically just doing fucking crime. Right? So let's get into this. We've got this is the website. This is one of those rare occasions that I'm going to go to a website of the enemy, and without going to like archive or something, because I want to show you the live stuff and talk about what you're seeing here. So in America, we don't do kings. That's right. Everybody in America is subject to the law, at least in theory. And they've defied our courts, deported Americans, disappeared people off the streets, attacked our civil rights, and slashed our services. These are all false statements. These are lies. Go ahead, Mario. What were you going to say?
It's just, of course, it's lies. It's it's just the latest manifestation of the communist virus that seeks to destroy this country. They've done so much damage over the past 6 decades, and it never stops. It never stops with these people. It doesn't matter how many times you unelect them. Okay, it doesn't matter how much negative publicity they get. It never stops with these people, and it will never stop. It's just incredibly frustrating, because I don't know what the solution is at this point.
Yeah, I mean, just lies. And it's amazing how they coordinate the lies. For example, right now it's trending on TikTok. You've got all these people explaining. Undocumented, and they're running with the lie, right? TikTok's put out their marching orders to thousands of creators, releasing almost identical messages regarding ICE raids and illegals. Being undocumented in the U.S. is not a crime. It's a civil violation, just like jaywalking or an unpaid parking ticket. And this is one of those careful lies that they like to tell. And, you look at these vapid sociopaths, and I can almost give them credit and say they're not lying, because they're so stupid that they don't understand. They don't believe that they're telling a lie. But like we've said before,
if you lived under a vindictive king, that screen there, okay, with all those different faces, all those people would be marked for arrest and persecution in basically political prisons. Okay, if you lived under a mad king.
Correct.
You stupid bitches.
And the thing that they're saying about it being a civil violation, I've said it before. I don't need to entirely relitigate it here, But very broadly speaking, very simply speaking, yes, it is a civil violation to be unlawfully present in the United States. That's for people who have overstayed a tourist visa, a work visa, a student visa, etc. People who came here legally, who went through the process to enter the United States as a visitor with a visa. That's a civil violation. If you've overstayed your visa, you were supposed to leave and you didn't. That's the civil violation. So that this particular lie is a half truth. But crossing the border, entering illegally, is a crime. And the only remedy for that crime under the law is deportation. We're one of the few countries, we're one of just a handful of Western civilization countries where crossing the border illegally is not a shoot on sight offense. And I lament that somewhat.
And I think we're one of two where if you happen to shit out a child on our border or within our borders, that we have a magic soil clause where you instantly become a citizen.
No, we're the only one.
The only one? I think Canada has the same thing, or Canada de facto has the same thing.
No, actually, Canada doesn't even do that. Canada is very strict on immigration law. If you're an American citizen and you want to cross into Canada, you have to show that you already have a job offer that's waiting for you to arrive. Like you have to have basically if you want to immigrate to Canada, you have to contact a company, apply for a job, get a conditional letter of job offer that says you have the job, assuming Canada issues the papers, and then you take that to the Canadian government and say, "Hey, I want my job. I want the job." Right now, that's to immigrate. Right now, entering on a visa of any kind, much easier. So a lot of the Canada does also have a huge problem with illegal immigration. What they have though is people come in on a tourist visa and then just stay.
No, they got it's a combination of everything. Okay, it's like student loan or student visas. Okay, are massively abused. All right. What I'm saying is immigrating to Canada is pretty freaking simple if you're Indian or Chinese and you're using a scam outfit that's designed specifically to get you into the country. But anyway, I don't want to talk about Canada. So
correct. So let me get back to the no kings thing. Conveniently, this was very kind of them. They've offered us an interactive map telling us where they're having their demonstrations, right? So you can go on the map and you can click for your hometown, your whatever. And I find it amusing that in Georgia, like there's one over there in Statesboro and what's that? Probably Augusta right about there. No, Hinesville. Oh, that's getting down near Savannah. That's going to be Augusta. Waterloo. Anyway. Oh, that's I'm already up into South Carolina there. But yeah, so you got them over there. Thankfully, there's a great big hole in the middle of Georgia where there's nothing near me. And that was on purpose. That's not a claim about me being such a badass that they just don't want to riot near me. I mean, that's true, but they're not intelligent. They don't know that. The claim is I moved to a place where they're not likely to be riots. But yeah, if you are anywhere near any one of these blue dots, maybe call some family and see about going for a barbecue this weekend.
Florida
looks like there.
Florida looks like shit on that map.
Georgia doesn't look a whole lot better. But you know, it's funny. You can kind of actually, you know what this map looks like?
That means there's one in Daytona Beach. So maybe I'll go film it if I can.
It just occurred to me that map looks like something we've seen somewhere else. See if I can find it. See if I can find a good. Yeah, that's good enough.
Nah.
Not quite as close as I thought. I wish I had a good way to screen share both of those at the same time so you could see them side by side, but it really does. Like you look at that, there's
it's just population centers. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not quite electoral.
Yeah, but you look at that and you clustered on the coast, clustered around the capitals, clustered around
what I would what I would concede is that there is definitely one of these no kings things in every blue county that you're seeing on the electoral map. Okay.
Yes.
Or adjacent to it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, interestingly, they have made it a point to say that they're not. Where is it? Okay, on June 14th, Flag Day, President Trump wants tanks in the street and a made-for-TV display of dominance for his birthday. A spectacle meant to look like strength, but real power isn't staged in Washington. It rises up everywhere else. Okay, I wanted to address that. So this channel is the Brushfire Mind. The name of this channel is a sort of tip of the hat to Sam Adams, and a quote. He said, "It is not the majority, but rather a tireless and irate minority setting brush fires of liberty in the minds of men." And that's correct. And that's what we seek to do here, is to set brush fires of liberty in the minds of men, to talk to you guys about freedom, about our constitutional rights, about liberty and prosperity and the pursuit of happiness and property, right? But the reverse is also true. Saul Alinsky understood this, right? That's where the rules for radicals come from. Is Saul Alinsky looked and said, hey, the American Revolution, most successful revolution of all time, created this great nation. What if we graft the most successful revolutionary tactics of all time onto the most dangerous ideology, Marxism, and just flip the script? And that's what Alinskyites are. That's what modern sociopathic socialism, which is the Democrat Party, that's what they are. That's what we're witnessing in these riots today.
Well, it's older than Alinsky. I mean, Alinskyite is the rules for radicals, basically identical to what the proto-communists were doing in the French Revolution. Okay, it's nothing changed. Basically, activism for the sake of activism, and basically, you don't have to tell the truth ever. Okay, that's what it is. But you know what, Sergeant Major, you might be right. Sergeant Major thinks that it's going to fizzle. Okay, and you may be correct, especially given that there's a lot of Israelis involved. Okay, in the coordination of this mass uprising, in their words. All right, and I don't think they can afford that right now. So, sorry, I didn't want to point out the obvious elephant in the room this morning, but I have to mention it at some point. But I don't think it's tactically. I don't think it's tactically sound for them to be trying to push us into a war for Israel, while at the same time trying to foment a racial communist revolution in America. That you can't do those two things at once, unless they've completely lost the script.
Right. So let's talk about the general practice of safety amid these activities. Because it's Firearms Friday, and what we talk about here is armed self-defense, lawfully armed self-defense. So the first rule of self-defense is to avoid the situation. Like we just showed you the No Kings website where the events are going to be. Don't go there. Now, if you have to go there, know where you're going. Right. So I'm going to share this with you. This is the map of stand your ground versus duty to retreat states. Right, the elephant versus the donkey. Surprisingly, California, Oregon, Washington, they have stand your ground laws currently. Now, California is currently arguing in the state legislature the addition of a duty to retreat law. As you look over here, you see New York. Maine surprised me to see that Maine is on this list. Duty to retreat except in one's home versus duty to retreat except in one's home or workplace. And then what's that last one? Duty to retreat except in one's home, vehicle, or workplace. So most of the country is stand your ground, right? And I think we're up to 27 or 28 states. Have they signed it in Florida yet? Constitutional carry, Mario?
No. No. But look at those red states. Okay, understand something. Yeah, you might have that right. It might be on the books, but just being in one of those red states on that map does not shield you from potential prosecution.
Correct. That's what I was about to
use a firearm in self-defense. Okay, so just keep that in mind. That's why California can technically be there on that map, but in reality, if you didn't fill out like a 14-point racial action plan, okay, and privilege checklist, then you're done.
For example, in Washington State, we saw during the 2020 riots, you can just, if somebody's wearing a red hat, you can just walk up and shoot them in the head and walk away. You're good. But, if you try that shit in California, if you happen to be wearing a red hat or, be white, and, if 15 Mexicans with rocket launchers tell you to give them your wallet, you better hand it over, because if you accidentally stub one of their toes, you're going to spend the rest of your life in fuck me in the ass federal prison.
15 Mexicans with rocket launchers. Type that into your AI image generator. That's great. It's like Once Upon a Time in Mexico, where like the mariachi cases like are launching missiles out of them and shit.
Yes. Man, I haven't watched those movies in a long time.
Oh, you didn't actually have to do it. I was just joking.
Yeah, yes, I did.
Sorry.
Oh God. Oh no, I definitely had to do it. You see what it says? Draw me 15 Mexicans with rocket launchers. Sorry, I can't help with that.
Shut it down.
Shut it down. This is not a good goy.
God.
Oh, so what are your riot weekend plans there, Mario?
Well, I have to work Saturday, so I guess I don't get to participate in vibrant democracy because I had to work. Sunday, I do put that in your pipe. Yeah, very well could be, Flowery.
Type that into your AI generator. I'm gonna have to remember. I've always liked to say, look that up in your funkin' Wagnall, because that would fucks people up pretty good. I don't know about you, Mario, but I actually have a funkin' Wagnall.
I don't know what that is.
Really? It's an old defunct dictionary company.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they don't print them anymore. It's also a Ghostbusters reference.
Got it. No, what do I plan on doing during the riot? I'll either be at work or I'll be doing errands, okay, for the family. And yeah, maybe like Pit Daddy said, I'll check out that parade, see what's going on with that. But I don't know, man.
I'll definitely be looking for some coverage of the parade.
I have a problem though. You see, I'm already kind of a news junkie. Okay, I can't stay off the internet for more than an hour at a time. All right, and given the sheer confluence of events going on right now, I'm probably going to be face in front of a screen like a loser. So, yep, that'll probably be
beats running.
It's true.
So I want to do a little FAFO. We were talking about the constitutional carry and stand your ground states, and like I said, if you're in Washington State, you can just murder white people if they appear to be Trump supporters, and that's totally cool. Same thing in California. In California, you can set police officers on fire and there will be no consequences. So you want to, even though those two states are listed as stand your ground, that's not for you, white guy. That's not for you.
Yeah.
But there are some states where they take stand your ground very seriously, and Florida happens to be one of those.
Try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave. In our county, you're most likely going to get run over and dragged across the street. If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital and in jail. If you hit one of us, you're going to the hospital and jail, and most likely get bitten by one of our big, beautiful dogs that we have here. If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at, because we will kill you graveyard dead. We're not going to play. This has got to stop. Try to mob rule a car in Brevard County.
Because we will kill you graveyard dead.
DRT is basically, that's another way to say DRT.
Yep. And that's not even the Polk County Sheriff. That's the Broward County Sheriff.
Yeah, Broward is not nearly as conservative as Polk County is. So, but still, it's, I don't know. I have conflicting opinions on the police in the state of Florida, but no, I as far as putting down public outrages and as far as riot control, yeah, Florida's solid on that. The problem is they don't know how to change into a lower gear during normal day-to-day activities. So,
well, and even what's his name? Your tiny little governor, DeSantis, made a public statement that if you surround somebody's car and they run you over trying to escape in fear for their life, the state of Florida will not prosecute. Like, I've got a bunch of Hawaiian shirts and flip flops. Mario, I might have to come see you this weekend. That's a joke. I'm busy, but damn, son. And then, in the category of FAFO, here's a guy who was harassing ICE officers in California.
I shot me in the nuts, and now I'm losing a ball. Surgery is tomorrow.
It's a bummer, dude.
Yep. They shot me in the nuts.
At least you got one left. Could be worse.
TPS report corrected me, and he's right. That's Brevard County, not Broward County. Correct. I apologize for the slip up there.
Broward's a shithole.
Yeah, when I first read it, and I mistakenly thought it was Broward. My first thought was, really? Because that's the Marjorie Douglas Stoneman, extra kids died because the on the ground armed security officer was a coward. Yep. Rhymes with Broward. And
the same county with a decade-long political machine for voter milling, for the Democrat Party, that got shut down finally.
Exactly. And still in the category of FAFO, and this goes to the safety brief as well, guys. If you happen to be a shit-lib nut job, a sociopath who is actively engaged in insurrection and supporting the enemies of the United States of America in a hostile armed color revolution in an attempt to overthrow the U.S. and out there screaming that, this is stolen land and Mexico should take it back and blah, blah, blah. The very charitable heart of me will say, pay attention to who you're fucking with. Maybe the right move isn't throwing bottles at police officers.
Yeah.
I love that just random civilian comes in and just straight dive tackles.
If that were football, the ball would be bouncing 10 yards down the field. You know what I mean? That was a strip sack.
Yeah, that's how you lose yardage, boys. That's how you lose yardage. Okay, and I got another one here. I got a few of these. It was a lot of fun. This one's great.
doped up on seltzer beer once again, and now it's running through his veins, giving him the liquid courage to act so stunning and so great. But booyah! A case of instant karma, and finds out real quickly the meaning of all lives splatter in your life doesn't matter. What the hell?
I love these sports caller replays on stuff like this. Those are fantastic. All lives splatter, your life doesn't matter. So, all right. So yeah, this weekend, guys, it's riot season. Don't do the stupid. Don't go to the riots. And if you do, for whatever reason, you want to go run a camera out there, be safe. Stay back. Use that zoom lens. Stay back away from that shit. Don't get yourself set on fire by sociopaths. Hell, wear some body armor.
Honestly, though, it'd be nice if we had like our own NGOs that would help organize us as counter protests. You know what I mean? But I don't know when that's going to happen. I mean, why does the left always have just institutions already ready to go? Like, how come being a leftist is so easy? You don't even have to think. You can just like follow instructions from overhead. Okay, like why don't we have no one giving us instructions from overhead? You know what I mean? It's frustrating.
You're correct. We have no one from overhead giving us instructions, while the left has massive funding.
Like I said, you don't have to think to be a leftist. It's just
correct.
Be here, this place, this time. It's going down, and that's it. That's all they need to know.
Right.
And they'll be
free food, water,
free legal counsel. Okay. Yeah.
Are you familiar, Mario, with the Data Republican?
Yeah.
So she's got the receipts on all of the federal grant money.
Yep.
This is the money that is funding the No Kings movement.
Yep.
And the organizations through which it's being laundered. So ACLU Foundation of Texas, total receipts, $3 million, right? And we can look at the federal grants flow chart, right? How it gets back to the No Kings organization. This is incredibly dense data. I'm not going to go through it in depth right now, guys, because this is incredibly dense data. You can go to her website, which is Data Republican just datarepublican.com. And she does this for a host of different organizations. This one in particular is related to the No Kings funding. So there's your total receipts. ACLU Foundation of Texas, $3 million. ACLU of Utah Foundation, $1.4 million. Albuquerque Teachers Federation, almost $3 million. American Civil ACLU, right? Almost $3 million. Another branch of ACLU.
Yep.
And you see two different EINs, right? American Civil Liberties Union Foundation. When you see the names match up like this, by the way, these are the same organizations that have divided themselves into shell corporation. Isn't quite the right term, but it's the same functional effect. But you can see the millions of dollars. And here's the thing that I want you guys to pay attention to when we talk about the millions of dollars being funneled into organizing these protests. That right there, federal grant flow. So we've talked about the NGO problem in the past, and this is with all charity organizations, with all major charity organizations. At the very tippy top, there are the biggest charity organizations, right? And they get federal grant money, huge federal grant money. What they do then is they pay their people exorbitant salaries. They pay the overhead on their facilities, the rents, the utilities, etc. And then they take the remainder of the money and they subdivide it down to related charitable activities. Well, those related charitable activities are things like protest organizers, community organizers, etc., etc. That money never goes to actually serve the people that it's quote quoted to be serving, right? So if you write yourself a check to some organization that says that it's providing, food and water, clean shelter, etc., to these poor, pitiful, put upon immigrants, they'll phrase it in some flowery language about how they're working to help the plight of the immigrant, etc. And what they're doing is they're funding, in large part, organized global protests like this. Okay, and I say global, right? We looked at the it'd be fair to say that it's not all over the world, but we can go back to the No More Kings site here, and there's the protests in America. But look at this. We could zoom out. They're holding rallies all over the world, except for basically most of Africa, Russia, China.
How do they have this much money?
Oh, that's a good question. In order to answer that question, Mario,
I'd like to know how much of their funding. I'd like to know how much potential funding of these people was cut by the crackdown on USAID. In fact, Data Republic is the same person who unraveled that spider web of network of funding, unrolling like USAID, right? I wonder. I don't know, man. Maybe some of these maybe some of these events are just going to be like a handful of people standing on the side of the road with a sign.
Most of them are, but all of the ones that are in major cities, I would say we're going to see riot conditions. Maybe tonight, certainly tomorrow night, in LA, in San Francisco, in Seattle, Portland, Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, New York City, Boston, Chicago,
all the major shitholes. Yeah.
No.
I really would be curious though to see if any. I really want to see, basically based on the current events in the Middle East. Okay, I want to know if the priority is going to shift away from this. All right. It's like I said.
That is going to be interesting to see.
You can't be trying to foment like a color revolution in the same country that you're asking to go to war for you. You know what I mean? You can't do those two things at once. So I want to see. I think Sergeant Mater might have been. I think he's right. I think it will fizzle. I think it's going to be underwhelming on Saturday. Honestly.
You think You think they got orders last night after Israel bombed Iran, and then all the protesters got their orders. Hey, hold up,
cool off,
hold up,
a little bit. Yeah,
need y'all to calm down. We need those Marines.
Huh?
We need those Marines to go and purge the the Iraqis or the Iranians. Yeah. All right, guys.
Yeah.
So that's your safety brief for today. Stay out of the cities. Hey, move. Get away from the cities. I mean, just go.
Yeah, that's been a reality for like at least a decade. So, but yes, absolutely. Unless you're making money and pocketing it away, then I know. Stay the hell out of the city.
Yep.
All
right, guys. Tomorrow, assuming that we don't get struck by lightning again, we'll have the evening show. And Mario, I'm gonna have to come up with an extra couple hours of content this month to make up for us having missed the evening show last week over the power outage. So I got a few ideas on that. You and I could talk offline about whether or not you want to be involved. And that'll be kind of cool.
Invite another guest. Invite another guest. Maybe a little cross-pollination from one of the affiliate shows.
Yeah, no doubt. And actually, while we're talking about that, y'all, there's the email address running across the bottom of the screen there. Or I'm sorry. Okay, across the bottom of the screen there, buymeacoffee.com, brushfiremind, or get your Rumble Premium membership subscription. And then you can always send us messages at the show at brushfiremind.com. That's the email address for you to send in your contributions, your suggestions. And if you are an subject matter expert in a field that's relevant to the kind of topics we discuss, and you want to put on a presentation like Be Controversial did on the Trump second shooter theory that we did last week on Wednesday, send me an email about it, and we'll get on the phone, we'll discuss it, we'll put together a PowerPoint presentation or pull articles, whatever we need to do to make that presentation happen. Let me know, and we'll work with your schedule to make it happen. Because good content is good content, and I want my audience engaged and taking appropriate action. And for the world that Mario and I are familiar with, the dissemination of actionable intelligence is appropriate action. So thanks for watching this morning, guys. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow.
And happy Father's Day.
And happy Father's Day.
There you go. All
Be
right.
good, guys.
Ciao.
You broke my outro salutation.